When they come in and they're new in the business, first thing you have to tell them is, make it a point not to talk to anyone. This is very, very important. You know why? Because they're going to probably do a lousy job. Well, every time I had a new person in the business before, I would tell them, don't talk to anyone, Arun. Why? Don't you trust me? No, I don't. But it's true. The guy probably won't be able to present the business effectively. If a person is new in this business and doesn't know anything about how to explain it properly, he will just end up turning his prospects off otherwise excellent business. How many have made that mistake before? You have no idea what to present. Yeah, you know, in Gold Quest, because there's these circles, and then after the circle, there's this bicycle. I don't understand the bicycle thing. But if you bicycle properly, they give you 2-4. No, I'm not interested. You're not? Why not? Then they wonder why they can't show people why this business is so good. And what happens when you turn somebody off? It's really hard to ever sit them down again and get them to listen. You see what I'm saying? Once his defenses are up, that's it. And that's the reason why you should tell them, don't talk to anyone. Oh yeah, but I want to talk to my cousin. Yeah, make sure I'm there with you. But Joe, I don't know anything about the business. Hey, if you don't know anything about the business and you have people around, you better start learning. Many people get turned off simply because the program was not explained properly. How many were turned off at first? When this business, come on, I know there's a few more out there. Because I was. When this business was first presented to me, I was very turned off. How many here? Come on, be honest. You have to be honest, guys. That's it. Because it wasn't explained properly, right? I've heard it so, if this was explained to me before, wow, why wasn't this explained before? Tell your new referrals, don't talk to anyone unless you are there with them, in order that you may explain the business properly. But Joe, you mean I have to go with them? Hey, we did talk about paying the price, right? Well, but Joe, instead of going with them, I'd rather go watch a movie. I'd rather go play golf. I'd rather go to so-and-so party. You mean all these 5 people, I have to help them? Were we talking about counting the cost or not? Because that's the cost I'm talking, time. Joe, I don't have time for that. Well, then I guess you don't have time to be a millionaire. Because that's what it's going to take. Oh, in order you may explain the business properly. Joe, I don't know how to explain the business properly. Then you have no business doing this business. If you don't take the time out to learn how to explain this business properly, you have no right. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry. I told you I'd speak the truth. If you don't take the time out to learn how to explain this business properly, you have no right to do this business. If you expect people to take you seriously with this business, you take the business seriously. One of the first skills you're going to need is learn how to present specifically for this purpose. So that when you take somebody into your organization, that you have the necessary skills to fulfill your responsibility of caddying and helping these people out. If you're not willing to help these people out in your organization, you have no reason and no right to bring them in. You have a responsibility to these people. Another thing that you must learn is what we call the home meeting. And we call them the home meetings because they're usually held at home. So we couldn't think of any other heading for this topic. I like the home meetings. One, everybody has a home. Your home should be your office. Not everybody can afford to put up a 500 square meter how do you call this, office at the Petronas. But everybody has a home with a table and 4 chairs. Right? Everybody has home. When I presented the business to Ferdy, was it In an office? No, I sat down with him in a coffee. My office was the placemat. When we presented the business to Dave and his friends, our office was the Pizza Hut table. In fact, when I started getting involved in this industry, not just with Gold Quest, I've been here for about 10 years. The first thing I did was got a bigger house with a bigger living room. You know why? Because of this, the home meeting. Because as your organization starts to grow, okay, what I would do is have them agree. Okay, as your organization start to grow, have them agree on a time when you shall meet at your home at least once a week, or at least once every 10 days. First thing I do is, and when we go looking at the house, I'd look at the living room. Because this is my office. This is where my organization is going to grow. One good idea, and this I used to do all the time, is to have a potluck party. I'd tell 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, hey, everybody bring food for 2 or 3, right? I'll supply the drinks and the rice and the bread. Everybody, I mean, how much can that cost? Doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Everybody, and then they would come to my house with food for 3, doesn't cost that much. We'd eat, have a good time. And as you know, I have a good time when I'm eating. And we'd party, we'd eat, we'd have a good time. And invariably, inevitably, after dinner, right, we sit down in the living room and we start talking. We start talking about the business. Oh, this week I experienced this. Next time I think I'm going to do this because this one didn't work. What about you? And you start exchanging information. Keep the business fun. You don't even have to do this at home. Many, many times you'd go watch movies. I'd tell my girl, hey, let's go watch a movie. We go watch a movie. After the movie, we gather at Dunkin' Donuts. And we'd sit. We'd talk about the business. But you see what I'm trying to say? Have meetings with these people. You'll notice that as different leaders begin to share their different experiences during the past week, everyone learns from each other. In your organization, are you the only one with brains? Because if you are, let's take a look at the quality of the people that you're bringing in. Sit down, share. Oh, what happened to you this week? Hey, that's not... I learned a lot. I'm supposed to be teaching these guys. I learned a lot from them. This whole conference this weekend, so many of you have come up to me, hey Joe, this is great. You know what we should do with these VCDs? We should do this. And you know what we can do in that? I'm learning from this. You think I'm just being religious and saying that I'm getting as much blessing from this conference as you guys? No. I've learned so much just from last night, just talking and interacting with you guys. Ranjit came to me while I was preparing for the second module last night and shared to me about something which I ended up sharing with you guys. I learned from it. So don't think that these home meetings are only for your benefit. They're also for their benefit. I'm sorry. It's also for your benefit. You will learn. And pretty soon, because they're learning, their organizations will start growing. Right? And they will start now inviting people. Now it's good for these new people to start coming in to these little parties. It's beneficial for them because rubbing elbows and interacting with the leaders and the fellow questers, creates an overall feeling of belonging. Hey, this is a team, this is a group. Hey, these guys are sharing their secrets with me, etc., etc. It also helps them gather valuable tips and information on objection handling. Many, many times, there was this guy who was asking all these objections, and I answered him with this. Oh yeah, one good way to answer this objection. It's a learning time. Yes, it's fun. Yes, you have a party, but it's also time to learn. And since these are people that have been doing the business, they are seasoned leaders. So it keeps their faith levels high. Correct? When you attend meetings like this, it gets your faith levels very high. It's important to note that you can have these meetings anywhere you can gather as a group. Doesn't have to be in your home. Oh yeah, and later on, okay, the original group that you have will start their own home meetings. And then they will start their own home meetings, etc., etc. Then pretty soon this organization grows. That's why these meetings are so important. Now the reason I like to use the home is everybody has one. You don't want to rent an office, and spend a lot of money refurbishing, because people walk in and saying, wow, yeah, Jason can do this, but I can't do this. So I'm not going to be able to succeed in this business. You see what I'm saying? But when you have a home meeting and you have new people coming in, they're like, hey, I can do this. I can do this business. I can do this in my living room. Now you're going to have this VCD, you just put it on your computer with your group, you go over it one by one. Hey, I can do this. I can print a manual. Which, by the way, also is another, just to sidetrack a little bit, which is another good reason why one-on-one is more effective. Because when you sit here presenting to a large group, many, many times people in the audience are saying, hey, this is a good business, it's really nice, but I don't think I can do what this guy's doing. I don't think I can get up in front of a group of 100 people, right? But if you present the business to somebody one-on-one, in a restaurant, over a cup of coffee, the guy's saying, hey, I can do this. That's another reason why one-on-one is so good. I can do this bit. I can do what he's doing. I can bring my manual along. After these meetings, encourage what we call caddying. Okay, at these meetings. Okay, discuss it. You should caddy people. Caddying is an indispensable method of learning the basics of building the organization. In golf, you have the caddies that help out the golfer, right? Many, many golfers will tell you that many times their success is dependent on the caddy that they have. Because you think the caddy just gives him the clubs? No. They sit down. What are the wind conditions? What's my lie? What club should I use? Well, how will this affect? And the caddy gets involved with all of this. What's the exact yardage from here to the pin? The same thing in this business. You sit down with your leaders and, okay, what do you need from me? What do you need me to support you on this? What's this? What's that? That's caddying. And this is what you have to do with your leaders. I see some of your faces going, Joe, all of this is going to take away from my party time. Well, are you willing to pay the price? There's no such thing as an accidental millionaire. I don't know about other businesses, but in Gold Quest, no way. All the people that have made money in this business have worked long, have worked hard, but they've also reaped the benefits. I told you about the one lady in the Philippines who got pregnant. At least now I can say she doesn't look like this, because before people, when I'd say pregnant, people look automatically at my stomach. She had been doing the business for about 1.5 years, and she got pregnant, of which is okay because she's married to her husband. Very important also. Remember, I was talking about the steps. Get married first, then you get pregnant. But anyway, so she had been doing very well, earning, weekly. She got pregnant. She spent 2 weeks in her house resting. And then she spent 4 days in the hospital, C-section. And then she spent another 2.5 weeks recovering. And just being with her baby, being with her husband. During this 5-week period, she earned $8,000, the next week $12,000, the next week $13,000, the next week $11,000, the next week $9,000. I don't know the exact chronological order, but the amounts are like that. While staying at home. How many have ever made $70,000 having a baby? That's what I'm saying. You reap the benefits of this. But she has worked hard in building her business. But how many people do you know have worked 15 years, 20 years, but still don't make $70,000 when they take a 5-week vacation? See, the point is we're all going to work anyway. We're all going to work anyway. Whether you work hard in Gold Quest or A or B or C, we're all going to work. We might as well work on something that's going to give us benefits even when we do decide to take a break for a while. The big earners in this business, if they stop doing Gold Quest for 1 year, do you think their checks would go down? I know another lady who spent 5-6 months, 8, 9, 10 hours a day building her business. And she was earning well, $5,000, $6,000, $4,000 a week. And then for reasons that I don't want to discuss, she got out. She's not doing the business anymore. But up to this day, she's still getting checks. Sometimes 4, sometimes 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 2. But she has completely stopped doing the business. But her organization is still there. That's why I'm saying, pay the price because it'll pay you back. The caddy system, you have to go through the list. Who do we caddy? Who? You have to make sure that, see, your time is very valuable. If you have 100 people or 200 people in your organization, you can't possibly caddy all of these. You know what I'm saying? So you have to identify, okay, these are the leaders, or these are the potential leaders that I want to work with. Not saying that you're going to neglect everybody else. But by you spending time with these leaders, right, and teaching them and imparting to them, and then now they go into their organization and start helping their organization, isn't that you also caddying them? Through your leaders, you are duplicating yourself and helping out. Don't go out with 200 people and caddy 200 people and only affect a 5% transfer, right? But choose 4, 5, 6 that you decide, I'm going to spend the next 1, 2, 3 months with these people. And make sure they know the business well. What do we need to caddy effectively? The tools. Training material, books. Remember I told you I was fortunate enough to have leaders before who caddied me and trained me. They lent me books, they lent me audio tapes, they lent me videotapes, they lent me training manuals that they put together. You need tools with which to caddy with. There's things also you must avoid. We'll go over that list a little bit later. And what must you do as the caddy? Once you have all the tools, how do you affect it? The caddy system is to help your referrals become successful in the business by working with and for them. Very important, the for. Because many people have this idea that, oh, I'm your leader in your organization, you go work for me. The reason that I was successful in this industry, I think, is because when I brought somebody in, I would make it a point to tell them, I will be your employee for the next 2 months. Not your slave. We're going to teach you that in the, what to avoid. I'm not going to be your slave, but I'm going to be your employee. In other words, whatever you need, I'm going to be there and going to be supporting you. So you work with them and you work for them. Because remember, we discussed earlier, when they prosper, who prospers? Caddying entails nurturing. Remember, we were talking about the plant. You know how you don't just plant the seed and then just let it go. No, you spend time cultivating the soil. You nurture. That person that you decide to caddy, you nurture them. You sit down with them, spend time training. And training isn't just sitting down with somebody, you sit down, I'm going to train you because I'm the all great, grand poobah of this business and you're going to... No, training doesn't know. Many times, like before, when Ferdy and I were going to Dave Trinidad, okay, I'll pick you up in your house. We spent about 45 minutes in the car before we got to that place and we talked about the business. That's training. Training is not getting up in a three-piece suit and sitting in front of 200 people. That's not training. Yes, it is one form, but training is impartation. Anytime that you can sit down with somebody and impart knowledge to them, that's training. So don't neglect the time that you have with your leaders going to and from meetings. That a lot of training happens there. Just you fellowshipping with each other, sitting down, having donuts, talking about your experience. Isn't that training? I've learned a lot from these sessions. And we thought we were just having a cup of coffee. Nurture your people. Don't just expect them to go out and make money for you. No. You sit down with them. In fact, when you have a new person in the business, remember what we call the 48-hour rule. Okay, make this ironclad in your organization. When you have a new customer, do not let 48 hours pass without calling and meeting with him or her and offering your support. 48-hour rule. Not calling and saying, Haroon, what is this? Up to now, you don't have any on your left, you don't have any on your right. I thought you were a good guy. I think you're spending too much time in front of that computer. No wonder your business not going. You were supposed to make a lot of money for me. That's traditional. When you're a boss and he's your employee, when you're paying his salary, you have the right to call him and say, Haroon, you're not taking care of your business, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? You are not the employer. Remember that. Yeah, but he's under me in my organization. Shouldn't I tell him what to do? If you know what you're talking about, yes. Calling to support means, Haroon, you came in either direct or indirect. Can we meet up? Do you need anything? Do you need me to help talk to some people for you? You see what I'm saying? Support. This is my number. This is my hand phone number. This is my home phone number. If you ever have any problems, give me a call. If you're sitting in front of your cousin or your friend and they have an objection that you can't answer, just give me a call and I'll talk to them. Remember, that's what we were talking about last night? But Joe, you mean I have to give my number out? You mean all these people are going to be calling me? Hey, are you going to count the cost or not? Are you willing do you want to be called 10 hours a day? I do. You know why? Because that means my organization is vibrant. They're hungry for knowledge. They're hungry for input. If nobody's calling you, in Manila, I would have a beeper and a hand phone. I'm telling you, when that hand phone or that beeper doesn't beep I get worried. I get worried. What's wrong? What's wrong? How come nobody's calling me? How come nobody's asking me for meetings? Takes time to do that. You have to be willing to pay that price. Ask if they need help to present. Many times these people are excited about the business but have no idea what to say. And how many of you ever experienced this? Somebody comes in, gives you his draft or pays by credit card, is really excited, comes back 4 or 5 days later saying, have you sent the draft? Can I withdraw? How many times has that ever happened? I guarantee you, what happened to this guy, he was so excited, he saw the business, he sent in his draft or paid by credit card, goes to 4 or 5 of his friends or relatives, they have absolutely no idea how to present the business, they do a lousy job, botch up the whole operation, and their friends tell, oh, this is this, that, oh, you'll never make it. Then he gets into arguments with them, right? Comes back and says, I did the wrong thing. You mind if I get back my draft? I guarantee you that's what happened. And that's the reason why you don't want them talking to anyone without you being there. Ask them, demand. You insist that you be with him. If you can't be with him, make sure one of the other leaders are. Ask if they need some help on answering any objections. You can call, yeah, Harun, there's this guy, I had a hard time with him. Why? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, the next time this comes up, this is how you answer this. The next time that this comes up, this is how you answer this. You see what I'm saying? Don't just hang up the phone. Oh, man, you must have done a lousy job. You better go train. Hey, who's supposed to train them? Whose responsibility is it? Encouragement. That's so important. People new in this business have to know that they're doing the right thing. Yes, they have to know when they're doing the wrong thing. If he's doing the wrong kind of presentation, if he's presenting the business wrong, yes, it's your job to sit down, and talk to him and tell him what he's doing wrong. But it's also your job and your responsibility to make sure that his faith level keeps high. Encourage him. Isn't it nice to receive encouragement? Isn't it nice? You have no idea how it makes me feel, how it makes Patrick feel. When you guys come up to us and say, hey Joe, great job, we're enjoying this. It means a lot. It's the same for the guy just starting out in the business. If it feels good when people encourage you, it's going to feel the exact same way. You should build a culture where everybody edifies and encourages each other. Start that culture. Support. That's where the time comes in. Being with them, going with them to the different appointments. Maybe even canceling some of your own. I've canceled movies with my wife, with my children. I've canceled parties. I've canceled out golf games. Simply because I was committed to somebody else. These are not theories that I'm talking to you about. Patrick, where's Patrick? Patman. Ed, have you guys ever canceled anything to support someone? That's why they're successful. That's why the checks are so big. Support. Joe, there's this big group, they're coming in, and I'm really excited. They want to talk about the business. Can you come here Friday night, 7 o'clock? Oh man, I can't. I just bought my tickets to the Gladiator and I can't. How many have ever done that? Now, there's nothing in the policy and procedures book that forces you to be there. It's a moral obligation. Go to them, support them. When I first got involved with this business, I told my wife and my children, I sat down with them, and I said, for the next 6 to 9 months, I'm going to be really scarce around this house. Not because I don't love you guys, but because if I do this business right, we're never going to have to worry about finances again. And then I can sit down and watch grass grow with you the whole day. Because that's my goal. People ask me why I work so hard. Because I'm so lazy. I want to get to the point where I don't really have to do anything. Because there are many, many, many important things in life that have nothing to do with making money. Watching your children grow. Nothing gives me more pleasure and fulfillment than being with my children. You'll meet them all, by the way. They're all going to be here tonight. Spending time with your wife. Priceless. Going out and doing mission work. Priceless. Taking vacations with your family. Now that has a price. That's not priceless. But that's why we work hard, so that someday we don't have to work. But in the beginning, you have to work hard. And the hard part comes in the teaching, the supporting, the encouragement, the nurturing of your network. But I'm telling you, it pays. It pays dividends that you can't put on a check. Do you think I can put a price on the relationship I have with Ranjit and Tony and Ronnie and Patman and Patrick and Ed? I can't put a price on that. Build a team. Teaching, impart. See, another nice thing about this business, and this is the reason why many companies are gravitating towards this industry, because it's such an efficient way to work. See, in the corporate world, if I were the president, and let's say Kuna were the vice president, would I tell Kuna all my secrets? Why not? They take me away. And they promote Kuna, right? Hire him for half of what they're paying me. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I may have taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything I know. You see what I'm saying? But in this business, everything you know, if you can write everything down, everything you know, you want to pass down to your leaders. Why? Because their success is your success. Here there are no promotions, there are no hirings, there are nothing. It's your leadership base. Teach, impart. The more you know, the more you can teach. Now, before you start to teach, however, you have to do one exercise. Make sure that your leaders have a vision. Have you ever tried to teach somebody who doesn't want to learn? Have you ever tried to teach a dog how to sit when he doesn't want to learn how? Because there are some dogs that are more, how do you call this, receptive than others. But let's stop using dogs as an example. Okay? But you know what I'm trying to say. Have you ever tried to teach tennis to somebody who has no vision to become a tennis player? If they have no vision for this business, they'll have no direction. They won't know what they're doing. They will not be motivated. You're going to have to call them up every day. Come on, man, come on. They will not be willing to overcome obstacles. They will have no work ethic. How many guys have a vision for this business? Do you guys need anybody to motivate you? Aren't you going out trying to get as much learning as you can? Before you teach, make sure you sit down with them and impart a vision in their hearts for what they can achieve in this business, or else nothing happens. It's like